This is LEGO Star Wars Set 40755, the Imperial Dropship vs. Rebel Scout Speeder. Includes 383 pieces, and it's a 25th anniversary set. Now, this battle pack actually includes a great many of figures. 6. We should have gotten 8, but besides the point, this is still a good number for what the battle pack was at a price of $40. Okay, yeah, maybe I should have had more figures. But besides that, it does also include a 25th anniversary figure, which is not that bad. But besides this battle pack is actually a really good set for, well, what it is. Especially notably its figures, including 3 Rebel Fleet Troopers and 3 Imperial Stormtroopers. Now, as nice as this battle pack is, it does not mean it doesn't have its flaws, such as the builds being a little bit unique. I'd say the more Rebel Speeder is actually okay, more or less, but the Imperial Dropship is, well, it's rough. It's not the best, okay? It's really not. Even the functions don't really work as well. Besides that, I mainly got the set for the minifigures. And when you're already building, especially the Rebel Fleet Troopers, having them all look the same, well, looks a little strange. So that's where this comes in handy. Along with my other main goal to actually make the troopers more diverse instead of having the exact same ones over and over. That's where an order from Lego.com comes in handy. I tried to order as many heads and hair pieces as I could off of Lego.com to try to get a mix and variety of what they got. So, let's see what we can do. Knowing the massive 6x6 Lego tile pieces, this is what we're going to be getting into. First off, seeing what we got in our little Lego bag here, just to see what we can do. Of heads, which isn't the most broad selection, I will admit, and sadly none of them do have that face strap that's actually iconically with the Rebel Trooper, but I'm hoping they still look good even without the strap. However, this is all the heads that I could rather get. I also got the one purple one just because it looks cool, and I think I can still make that one work as in the Star Wars universe. And some of them do also have double-sided face prints, which is also kind of nice to give them some character. But for now, this is all we have. Also managed to get these cool looking torsos, which I actually don't know where these are from or what theme they're actually originated from in the first place. However, I thought they looked really cool, and some of them actually look like they've been used for ISB agents, which is also kind of cool. I'm hoping that actually works and turns out well, but we'll see. And of course, just for fun, I wanted to get a lot of other random stuff that I can hopefully use and integrate into the Star Wars universe in the first place, such as these beautiful pants. Now, if Honey is ever asking where are my pants, now you know. I probably don't have them. And to top things off, okay, that was not funny, we have our hair pieces, which we actually have quite a lot of. Also, just so I can have a lot of extras in the first place, but also to see if our Rebel Troopers can also have hair, and you can switch it off with the helmet. Stuff like that. It's time to actually top things off. We got a lot of these clear tube things that are angled so that we can hopefully use them for figure posing and such, because I always seem to be missing a lot of those. We also have these clear backpack things, because well, I seem like I can use them a good bit. And we also have some more extra accessories, like these golden pauldron pieces to hopefully use on Thrawn, if it looks good. And with this, let's dig in. More or less upgrades, if you will. But on top of that, I would also like to make an alternate build between 2 battle packs that I now have. These are the 2 original builds from the set. They're not the best, and that's okay. They still work and they have their intended use. However, they have flaws that I'm certainly not a big fan of. Starting off with the Imperial Dropship here, which honestly is probably my least favorite of the 2 builds, and scarily enough actually looks really good on a stand. I was not expecting that when I put it on here, but it actually looks kind of decent in here. Now with this one, I'm not really the biggest fan of it, especially compared to the past ones. For example, this one sort of has a more chubbier build to it, and looks a little out of proportion, I guess. But honestly, on the stand, it actually looks kind of good. Other problems with this though is you are only able to actually hold only 2 troopers. All the dropships in the past have been able to hold 3 plus a pilot. This one only has the 3, 2 in the back and only 1 pilot, which is different. I mean, it works. It doesn't look the worst, I guess. The cockpit is certainly a lot larger and actually enclosed compared to previous versions, but I mean, he fits in there nicely and snug. I'm actually okay with the cockpit. I don't like that it doesn't have any controls. Well, it does have controls, but not like actually there at the controls. Another thing I'm not really a big fan of is the engines look super duper cool. Don't get me wrong in that. I love the flaps on the side and everything. However, when you have these 2 back here, well, bucket heads are getting the heads. I don't know. It just doesn't really work too well, especially when they're there. Now, when they're not there, it can go down a little bit further, which is nice, but yet again, not perfect. So even with that, it still like works, but it's certainly not the best. Now, this dropship overall is certainly not the first iteration and is a little bit far different compared to the past two. I just dropped gun, but it's okay. One, especially the cockpit, the actual build itself, and how this mechanism works. In the past, you were able to lift up the engines and take out a little cart. This is kind of the main idea there. But for this one, though, well, this one moves up and down, and this, in order to take this out, you just kind of pull here, and there's kind of a little clip at the end, using some rail things, which now the engines can go down. But when you drop this, it just looks a little weird. Obviously, it's just for play use, for 2 troopers, but it's not the most appealing. And to put it back in, you just slide it back on the rails, and there you have it. Next up, we have the Rebel Scout Speeder, which is honestly my favorite of the 2 builds. I honestly really like this design. It's simple, sort of similar to the original one back in 2007, which is actually the only actual one that we've had. And besides that, it's actually a really good build. I do kind of like the engines a lot. I love the actual side shaping. I love the front end. The Torrent, I'm actually very happy with. Torrent. The windshield, happy with. The one thing I'm really not happy with this, I guess, is it's kind of small, kind of stubby again. Yet again, this seems to be a common theme in this set. But besides that, it's really not that bad, and it does actually fit all 3 minifigs, just like the other one. But still, the one thing I'm not a big fan of, however, is the guy on top of the Torrent. I always find that to look a little weird and a little bit goofy. The original 1007 did not have this either, actually. Actually, was able to fit all 4 minifigs, I think, all inside of it. I do not own the original, although that would be quite nice. But you were to fit majority of them in there and just have the Torrent moving. And that's like the one thing I kind of aim to fix. I'm also making this a little bit longer, I guess. I keep dropping the helmet here. But yeah. Overall, it's actually a pretty nice build. I'm happy with this one. Not too many flaws. I mean, this looks a little goofy. Also looks a little bit cool at the same time, so we'll see. Oh, and the thing about this is this actually does lift up, revealing a little gun apartment where you can put, like, his gun in there, etc. So, that's cool, but it's nice to at least have a weapon space. But yeah, that's Rebel Scout Speeder. For my alternate builds, I decided to do one of my original ideas was to combine the 2 bags of the Scout Speeder to make the Scout Speeder, and then combining the 2 bags from, well, the few bags from the dropship in order to make the dropship, just so I can actually have that connection, because I just want to make like a larger dropship, and I kind of want to make a larger Scout Speeder. Not necessarily like a combo between the 2 or whatever else, because I still want the separate builds, but I want to see if I can improve upon them was kind of my idea. So, we'll see what I did. Now, first up, I ended up doing the Imperial dropship first, and also might be one of my favorites, but it kind of is hard to choose between the 2. this is my Imperial dropship. It's a combo of the two sets, pretty much combining both dropships into one and fixing the flaws that I wanted to fix in the original. Now, let's go through this section by section. First, I did actually end up keeping the original cockpit design, which is, I thought, it still looks kind of as cool, even though I don't like the way he kind of sits in there. But I'm certainly not really good at designing cockpits in the first place. But besides that, I feel like it was a very nice fit to keep some of that original design. Now, in this sort of midsection here, before I get to the midsection, I decided to keep the turrets on, the little fins on the side. It is kind of a little bit stubby here, but there's like a little gap for just like intake and such. So that's kind of cool. I kept the original sticker up there on top. I actually did that by accident. I just thought it looked really cool, and I was like, oh wait, that's also in the original. But it's okay, because it still works. And then in this next section here, we actually have our troop bay, which is in the middle of the ship and not at the back necessarily, and doesn't like come off or anything, but it's actually part of the build where you can fit all 4 minifigs. Well, you fit 4 of the minifigs, 1 pilot, and you do have 1 missing out. I was thinking about having like a double cockpit design or something weird like that to fit all 6, but I was like, I'd rather keep a flat roof. And technically you can fit that 6 minifig in the middle of the troop bay, but it does make it a little bit cramped. So technically, if you wanted to, you can fit all 6 minifigs. I just simply chose not to for a better look. Another advantage with the troop bay is you're actually able to lift up the top part, so you can actually get easier access in there. You actually don't really need that, but still kind of cool that it is an option. Inside of it, you also have a little control panel on the back wall and sort of some studs in there so you can place some things, but it's a little hard to get in there. Each trooper has a little seat to sit on, or just some studs in the slab. That piece, that's kind of frequent in the set, but it works really well for them to sit on. So, very nice to have that easy access too. And then looking at the back here, the engines have now 3 of them, and I kept a very similar design to the set again. Just I actually made the side flaps a little bit bigger, just so I thought it would fit the overall bigger build here. You're actually able to fully move these up and down, which gives it a very nice wide range motion. You don't have to worry about it hitting the troopers' heads or anything. I think this is a good length to go down on, so I'm completely fine with that. In the back here, there is kind of like this little, it doesn't do anything, it's just the side effect of the build. I was trying to at least fit something there, but I don't think I would have had enough pieces. Even though there was some leftover pieces, I don't think there's any one that would have made this work too well, so I just left it as is. And it doesn't look the worst. And also it kind of stops the engines from going down too far and having a nice range. On the bottom here, you also kind of have some smaller details. Not really much going on there. Kind of rounds downwards. The quote-unquote landing gear resting thing is the back kind of lines up with this front part so that it can actually rest on the ground evenly, especially when you're landing your troops, etc. This kind of gives a very nice aesthetic. Now, actually putting this set on the stand too, I do most certainly love it a lot more. It does look really cool on the stand. I might have to buy a separate stand for this on its own for my collection, but yeah. Putting the troops in is just as easy. You can just rest them right in there, just like so. It works. So just the arms in the middle might intertwine a little bit, but besides that, just as easy. And if you really needed to, you can lift at the top, like I said. Which kind of gives you this nice little open area, so you can Just kind of slide them right there. Boom. They have plenty of headroom. Plenty of all that. And they're not like too tightly in there. They're kind of like nice and open. And then put the roof back on. They still have some headspace. Voila. On to my alternate build of the Rebel Scout Speeder, which did combine both. Both sets of bags for the Rebel Scout Speeder, but this one also did use a few extra of the leftover pieces from the Imperial dropship bags that I just didn't end up using. But it's only like very, very few. I just thought, because, well, why not? I have the pieces anyways. Alright, so here you go. This is the larger version of the Rebel Scout Speeder. I mean, it's not like super larger, doesn't really fit more minifigs. Overall, still fits the original 3, it's just not on the turret. Like I said, I wanted to get rid of, because I didn't really feel like it needed to be too large, and I just kind of wanted to be more of an epic, cooler look, and not necessarily being able to, well, I guess I could have done both, but I did kind of like the style of the speeder, so I wanted to keep that original design. Now here you see it is a little bit more chubbier as well, but also has that length to it, so I feel like it kind of evens out in that sense. That's what I'm very, very happy about. Like up here, you can kind of see how this part is a little bit longer. Added this. This part's also slightly longer, but still keeping that similar original design here. But I like the red hints, and I still use the stickers, which I'm not really sure if I like or not, but they're on there, just in case. The engines here actually has 2 more engines and not just the 2 at the back. Funny, I guess, design flaw, but also kind of a cool feature is you can move the engines ever so slightly because of the bricks that I used here. So I guess that's kind of cool. An extra added feature for, say. Now, overall, I'm kind of actually, at first I really, really hated this design, but the more I look at it, it's kind of growing at me. I guess like the one thing I would fix is how tall the turn is, but I really wanted to slope bricks here, and there's no shorter ones than that. Well, I guess, at least compared to the parts I already used. We'll show the inside in a second here. I still, I guess, cockpit space. Still kept similar design, everything. I would change that brick, I guess. Kind of use that. Still use the ladder pieces on the side for just more extra detail. These kind of strut out here. These whole side panels can also be removed. I don't know if I want to remove them right now, but you can, because it's still the same, similar technique as the actual Lego set. I guess a really cool feature that's also very similar is you are able to take off the top turret just like you can, and it honestly rests pretty well. With the turret, I obviously took off the seat, but also added a twin blaster barrel instead, which honestly I kind of like this a lot. Still out of the pink brick there, extra cool detail, and it still swivels kind of just as fine. I mean, best is gonna get off, turn on the ground. Those are some of the parts I used from the dropship. But yeah, I think it's a nice design, at least with the parts that I had. And you can see here how it was connected. This part's a little bit loose, but besides that, it's not bad. So we can put that right back on there, and the side facing this way. I thought that was kind of cool, similar design. Look on the inside here, we'll take out our modified Rebel Troopers, which I'll show that later. Here's the interior, still having the 3 seats. Technically you have the gun racks if you face the Rebel Troopers each different ways than the way I had them. You can actually fit the guns. But yeah, that's the one downside. It didn't have enough room for some sort of weapon rack, which is kind of a bummer. It's one of the things I did want to add. Like, I guess you could take these parts off, but I really like the round look on the seats. But if you did want a weapon rack, you can probably just switch these 2 around and mess around with that. Another cool thing, control panel in the back again. You also have one in the middle and all the way up front, which I thought integrated extremely well. It's right up against that. It's really, really flat. So it's kind of cool. Love the round design again. But yeah, so that's the Rebel Scout Speeder. And I still added some clear pieces on the bottom, so it still skids. And with this one, like, it's still perfectly fine like this, but you can kind of sort of rock it a little bit just when you do that. But it's still gonna go back up to the resting spot. But I guess it's a speeder. I found that kind of cool, kind of fun. But yeah, that's the Rebel Scout Speeder. To actually go back to kind of like the main reason why I actually started this video in the first place was because of these guys. These are the 3 original Rebel Troopers that you get included in the original set, each with their different respective faces that also look somewhat similar, and they each have that head strap, which looks great. I mean, these figures are fine. They look absolutely amazing for what they are. But when you're army building them, having them all look exactly the same isn't really ideal. And I guess most people don't really care about that, but I certainly do. So with this is when Lego.com's Pick a Brick comes in handy. I picked out every non-yellow Lego head color that I could really find to try to get as much diverse as I can to make them different. Obviously just not yellow, because that would look a little weird in the Star Wars universe, but that's okay. So this is kind of the different ones that I've selected here. I gave 2 hairstyles just because why not? The faces kind of look like they fit the respective hairstyle, so I gave them that, and the rest of them just each have a different head. And honestly, I think they look pretty great, especially even without that beautiful looking head strap. Although I do wish the dude actually included that. I guess chin strap is the technical term. But even without it, I think these figures still look absolutely great, and are very nice to have an army of different looking Rebel Troopers and not all exactly the same. What the figures was that if I didn't have the respective skin tone to match their face, I just used plain black hands just as a filler for now until I can maybe possibly actually get those set hands. But for now, this will work. So with this, I think just getting 2 battle packs and then ordering a few things just from the Lego Pick-a-Brick wall in order to make a bigger, diverse army is really, really, really cool. And I think this looks absolutely epic. Especially if you have like 3 of them, you still have the original troopers, and now you have a lot more other troopers that you get to play around with, which can each be their own different, unique character in their own way. And now, even with actually, I personally really, really love these alternate builds a lot more than I was thinking to, and I am very happy I was able to get these done, because honestly, I think they look absolutely amazing. A little goofy with some of them, but besides that, I'm really happy with what I did, and yeah, this concludes this video. Thank you for watching. Starlight Bricks, out. I am so getting a stand for these dropships.